Well, I don't guess I will. Oh, well, I tried. Uh, I'll just continue with it. It'll get cut off again. But she was with Section 8. Her last name's Clater, but her husband's married name was Palmer. And she was head of Section 8, and she's helped in them getting it, Terry, and the feds get me into the Section 8 housing. And then when I break the lease because they've gassed me to death, now then I can't even get into any kind of housing. You'd think I was the lowest scum on earth. And by the way, they had a cabin out on mountain. It wasn't a cabin. It's rustic up on a hilltop there next to the trail where they saw me all the time crawling in the freezing and trying to beg for food. And they have this beautiful home up there. And now then, it's got to be worth so much money because there's houses gone up there and development that's worth oodles of money. It's next to the forest. Anyway, Clutter Lake was named after the family, it's my understanding, but she's the one that helped in it. So the next one I had, and in between is all this crap going on too, but the next one I had was at Richfield, and Terry took me there. And I got in. I was so happy for anything, but it was nice enough. Well, the same thing happened there. And it's already prearranged before I get there. So I leave, and it's setting up a record that makes me look bad. You can't tell it. So in between, there's been things happening. I've got papers on it that shows exactly what they've done, but you can't get an attorney to touch it or anything. So the last one that was Section 8, I'll just use that one, and it's a lot in between here, like Affordable Corporate Suite. There's a bunch of them here, and I've been to them all, and they're owned by a Jewish man, and he's quite wealthy from it all. And they did the same thing. I don't know how I've got lungs left. But the last Section 8 I lived in was owned by a Reverend Moore over in Washington, North Carolina, a black minister. He owns a whole bunch of these retirement homes. He must own about 20 to 25. And so it's federally funded, your Section 8 and low income housing, and HUD. So the government can tie you up there. You don't have to do it. But, you know, they're not going to have to pay for the crime, so why not, evidently. So to heck with the NAACP with civil rights, as long as it's me that's begging. Civil liberties, nothing. NOW, my husband went to them years ago, the women's rights group. They did nothing. So I'll get back to Joseph's Way, was where I moved into. It's brand new in Bedford, Virginia, next door here. And right away, I walked in on the 4th of July. Well, it was the 1st of July of 11. I walked in, had rented it, and all hell broke loose. The air conditioner went down. And by the way, that backs up to the War Memorial in Bedford that Tom Hanks and all of them think so neat. You know, they got the flags up there, the British flag, saying the Brits are for them, which is a lie. I mean, they kidnapped me and they hold the Brits hostage, and I don't know what that is, a phone over there. But anyway, so it's like this joke. They've got the monarch living, running around, beating the hell out of me. And I look out my window, and I'm up against the War Memorial looking at the American flag. How's that frost you? The Americans love it. Love it. Cram it down the Brits' throats and mine, too. So, so much happened there. These are brand new apartments. The water breaks in the wall, and there's mildew and mold and all kind of crap. So I finally go through all this stuff with Brenda Ellis, and I'm naming names because they need to be held accountable. I mean, that's assault and battery and conspiracy and everything rolled into one. Maybe if you put them before a court of law and they had to answer for it, it might mean something. But anyway, she moved me into another new one, and all this looks good because it's kind of invisible if you don't want to admit it's happening. So I moved up there, and the same thing happened. I mean, I can't even name. I was so sick when I left there. I stayed 7 months, and every minute of it was hell. And can you believe the people around me all knew about the stuff? I've lived here since '86, and so I had to break another lease. And I'm not. There's no way I can go into telling you what I went through. I will say this: that toward me leaving, there was a Navy SEAL retired that was hired. And he got this glowing recommendation. It came out when they hired him at the little village there, little retirement village, about him being a SEAL and how good and proud they were to have him, when I've been treated like you can't even, the worst criminal that ever walked the face of this earth. So I was promised by the affordable corporate suite over in Salem. I talked to the woman there. She's a black lady named Roberta. They took her out of housekeeping. She'd worked for him for years, the Jewish man. I called over there and back to Roanoke, and she promised me that her brother worked for the Bedford Police. If I came over here, back over to Roanoke, that I'd be safe. Well, I came back over and I moved in, and you should see what was done to me again. And so then I'm tossed around. I'd managed to save a few bucks, done without clothes, anything, food, to save it, and it was gone in a heartbeat. So I ended up here where I'm at now, and I guess I'll leave it at that because none of it's ever stopped. I keep hoping. Oh, I did want to say this. I did apply last year. Reverend Moore has a brand new one in Christiansburg, Virginia, about 40, 50 miles from here, and it's right next to Blacksburg and Virginia Tech, where the mass shootings and the Fort Hood shooter finished school there. So there's connections, the patterns done in programming and mind control, and everybody's afraid of it. But anyway, I applied there, and the manager's name was Mrs. Scott, and this is part of the Joseph's Dream. He names them names like that, Reverend Moore, that I lived in Bedford. You know, I paid my rent as hard as it was for me to do. I always paid my rent. And I got a letter back from Miss Scott that she had to go back through every place I'd worked or lived and do background check on me. I got a letter back from her, and she told me it would do no good. I did try to pursue it. She said to me, I wish I could tell you who has told me to deny you coming in here. She says, and the reason given was that, in essence, I wasn't the caliber of person that they wanted there. This is HUD, low income. I haven't committed a crime. They were done to me. And I tried to pursue it. It did me no good. So I'm sitting here, and I don't know, I'm 75 years old almost.